The sun set slowly over the hills of Terra Nova, casting long shadows across the human settlement. The orange light made the metal buildings shine like gold. This was the farthest humans had gone from Earth. 23 people lived in this small camp, all scientists and workers who came to learn about this new world. Dr. Alan Wright stood at the edge of the main building, looking out at the strange trees that surrounded their camp. They were not like Earth trees. They had purple leaves that moved even when there was no wind. He checked his tablet computer, reading reports from the day's work. Dad, come look what I found." The voice belonged to Lily, his 12-year-old daughter. She ran toward him from the direction of the small stream that flowed near the camp. Alan sighed but smiled. Bringing Lily to Terra Nova had been a hard choice. After her mother died 2 years ago, he couldn't leave Lily behind on Earth. The company allowed families for long missions like this one. Most days he was glad she was here. "What is it this time?" he asked. Last week it had been a rock that glowed in the dark. The week before, a plant that sang when touched. Lily reached him, breathing hard. Her brown hair was messy and her knees were dirty from crawling around in the forest. In her arms, she carried something that looked like a small animal. "It's hurt," she said. "I found it by the stream. Something bit its leg." Alan looked closer. The creature was unlike anything he had seen before. It was about the size of a cat, with orange-red fur covering most of its body. But its face and tail looked more like a lizard's. It had large, smart eyes that watched Alan carefully. "Lily, you know the rules. We don't bring wild animals into the camp," Alan said firmly. "But Dad, it's hurt. Look." She turned the creature gently to show a wound on its back leg. The cut was not deep, but it was bleeding. Before Alan could answer, Samantha Miller walked up to them. She was the camp's security officer, a strong woman with short black hair who always carried her gun, even inside the camp. "What's that?" she asked, her hand moving toward her weapon. "Don't shoot it." Lily held the creature closer. "It's just a baby, and it's hurt." Samantha frowned. "Dr. Wright, we can't have unknown animals in the camp. It could be dangerous. It could carry diseases." Alan understood her concern. They had rules for a reason. This far from Earth, any mistake could be deadly. But the creature did look hurt, and it wasn't fighting or trying to bite Lily. "Let's take it to Dr. Pete," Alan decided. "He can check if it's safe, treat its wound, and then we'll release it back into the forest." Samantha didn't look happy, but she nodded. "I'll come with you." They walked to the medical building where Dr. Pete Garcia worked. He was not just the camp doctor for people, but also studied the animals of Terra Nova. "Well, what do we have here?" Dr. Pete asked when they entered. He was a short man with a kind smile and glasses that always slipped down his nose. Lily put the creature on the exam table. "I found him by the stream. Can you help him?" Dr. Pete put on gloves and examined the animal carefully. It stayed still as if it knew they were trying to help. "Fascinating," he said after a few minutes. "It looks like parts lizard, parts mammal. The cut isn't deep. I can clean it and put some medicine on it." "Is it dangerous?" Samantha asked. "It doesn't seem to be," Dr. Pete answered. "No signs of poison glands or dangerous claws. But I've never seen this species before." While Dr. Pete treated the wound, Alan watched how calm the creature was. Most wild animals would fight or try to run. This one just looked at them with eyes that seemed too smart for an animal. "There," Dr. Pete said when he finished. "The wound should heal in a few days." "So we can release it now?" Alan asked. Lily looked sad. "Can't we keep it until it's better? Please?" Alan was about to say no when Dr. Pete spoke up. "Actually, it might be good to watch it for a day or two. Make sure the wound doesn't get infected. And I'd like to run some tests. We haven't seen this species in our surveys." "I'll take care of him," Lily promised. "I'll feed him and make sure he's okay." Alan looked at his daughter's hopeful face and felt himself giving in. "One day. Then we decide." "We should keep it in a cage," Samantha suggested. But when they tried to put the creature in a small cage, it made a sad sound that made Lily cry. "He doesn't like it," she said. "He won't hurt anyone. Look how gentle he is." To everyone's surprise, the creature crawled back to Lily and curled up in her lap. "It seems to like you," Dr. Pete said with wonder in his voice. One day turned into 2, then a week. The creature, which Lily named Scout, became a part of camp life. It followed Lily everywhere, never causing trouble. Tests showed it was not carrying any dangerous diseases. It ate both meat and plants and seemed to understand simple commands. "It's like it understands what we're saying," Lily told her father one evening as Scout lay by her feet in their small home. "Animals can be smart," Alan said, but he had to admit Scout was different. The way it watched people, how it seemed to listen to conversations. By the end of the month, even Samantha had stopped worrying about Scout. The creature never tried to run away, even when the camp gates were open. It seemed happy to be with humans, especially Lily. One night, as Alan worked late in his office, Scout came in without Lily. This was unusual. "What is it?" Alan asked, feeling silly for talking to an animal. Scout walked to the window and looked out at the dark forest. Its ears moved back and forth and it made a low sound in its throat. Alan joined Scout at the window but saw nothing. "What do you see out there?" For a moment, Alan felt a strange chill. Then he laughed at himself and went back to work. Scout stayed by the window all night watching the forest with eyes that glowed in the dark. The next morning, the camp received a message from Earth. Reports of unknown ships at the edge of the system. Possible alien activity. Be alert. As people discussed the message with worry, Scout stood at the edge of camp, ears perked up, eyes watching the sky. No one noticed except Lily, who put her hand on Scout's head. "What's wrong?" she asked. Scout didn't answer, but it didn't need to. That night, its behavior would speak louder than words. The morning brought visitors to the human camp. 3 large ships landed in the clearing half a mile from the settlement. They were sleek and dark, unlike any human ships. Dr. Alan Wright called all staff to the main hall. "We have first contact," he told the 22 people gathered there. His voice was calm, but his eyes showed worry. "Command says they are called the Vraks. They have asked to meet with us." Samantha Miller checked her gun. "I don't like this timing. Right after the warning about unknown ships. We need to be friendly," Paul Johnson said. He ran the day-to-day operations of the camp. "This could be a great chance to learn." Lily sat in the back with Scout curled up beside her. The creature had not eaten since yesterday and kept making low growling sounds. "What's wrong, Scout?" Lily whispered, petting his scaly head. Alan noticed them. "Lily, take Scout home and stay there until I come get you." "But Dad..." "No buts. This is serious. We're meeting aliens for the first time." Lily picked up Scout and left, but she didn't go home. Instead, she went to her friend Emma's room. Emma helped with plants in the science lab. She was the only other kid in the camp, 14 years old. "They're coming here? Real aliens?" Emma asked, her eyes wide. "Yeah. Scout's acting weird about it," Lily said. Scout kept trying to get to the window, ears flat against his head. "Maybe he can sense something we can't," Emma suggested. Outside, the adults prepared to meet the Vraks. Alan, Paul, Samantha, and Dr. Pete stood at the main gate. Grace Martinez, who handled communications, worked on her tablet to get translation software ready. The Vraks came on foot. There were 6 of them, tall, with greenish-gray skin. They had 4 arms each and walked with straight backs. Their faces had no noses, just slits, and their eyes were big and yellow. "Welcome to our settlement," Alan said when they arrived. The tallest Vrak stepped forward. "I am Commander Zrek. We are pleased to find humans in this sector." Grace's translator worked well. The Vraks spoke in clicks and hisses, but the humans heard English. "I am Dr. Alan Wright, lead scientist of this research station. This is Paul Johnson, our operations manager, and Samantha Miller, security chief." The Vraks looked at Samantha's gun. "You fear us?" "No," Alan said quickly. "It's standard for security to be armed." Commander Zrek nodded. "Of course, we understand. We also carry weapons." He touched something on his belt and a rod extended into what looked like a spear. "For protection only." Paul stepped forward. Would you like a tour of our settlement? Yes. We are interested in how humans live and work, Commander Zrek said, as the tour began. Scout broke free from Lily's arms and ran to the window. Scout, come back, Lily called. Emma looked worried. He really doesn't like them being here. Let's follow the tour, Lily suggested. We can stay back so Dad doesn't see us. The girls slipped out with Scout, keeping to the shadows as they followed, the adults showing the Vraks around. The aliens asked many questions. They wanted to know about the camp's power systems, how many people lived there, and what weapons they had. Paul answered proudly, telling them about the shield generator that protected them from dangerous animals and storms. Very impressive for such a small group, Commander Zrek said. His yellow eyes scanned everything, missing nothing. When they passed near where Lily and Emma hid, Scout began to shake. He made a sound the girls had never heard before, a high whine that made their teeth hurt. Quiet, Scout, Lily whispered, but the creature wouldn't stop. One of the Vraks turned toward the sound. What is that noise? Samantha stepped between the Vraks and the girls' hiding spot. Probably just local wildlife. They make strange sounds. The Vraks didn't look convinced. It sounds familiar. As the tour continued, Grace Martinez noticed something on her tablet. She pulled Alan aside. Sir, there's strange signal traffic between the Vraks ships and somewhere in orbit, she whispered. They're sending a lot of data. Alan frowned. Could be normal communications with their main ship. Maybe, but it's encrypted, and there's a lot of it, like they're mapping our whole settlement. By evening, the Vraks had seen almost everything except the underground storage areas. Commander Zrek asked if they could stay overnight to continue talks in the morning. Of course, Alan said, though Samantha's face showed she didn't like the idea. We have guest quarters ready for you. As dinner was served in the main hall, Lily and Emma sat far from the Vraks. Scout refused to come inside and stayed by the perimeter fence watching the forest. Your daughter has interesting eyes, Commander Zrek said to Alan. Very bright. Very useful. Something about the way he said. It made Alan uncomfortable. Thank you. She takes after her mother. And where is her mother? She died 2 years ago. On Earth. The Vraks made a sound that might have been sympathy. My regrets. Children are valuable resources. After dinner, the Vraks went to their quarters. Alan called a private meeting with his senior staff in his office. Something feels off, Samantha said right away. They ask too many questions about our defenses. Grace showed them her tablet. The signals are still going, and I decoded a small part where they used the word invasion twice. That could mean anything, Paul argued. Maybe they're worried we might invade them. Dr. Pete spoke up. Did you notice how they reacted to Scout's noise, like they recognized it? Alan rubbed his tired eyes. We can't jump to conclusions. This is first contact. Misunderstandings could happen easily. We should at least double the night guards, Samantha suggested. Agreed, Alan said. And Grace, keep monitoring those signals. Later that night, Lily couldn't sleep. She went to check on Scout, but he wasn't in his usual spot on her floor. She found him outside, still at the fence, staring at the sky. Scout, come inside. It's cold, she said. For the first time since she found him, Scout ignored her completely. Even when she offered his favorite treats, he wouldn't move from his post. Lily went back inside and called Emma on her tablet. Scout won't come in, he's acting really scared. My dad says the aliens give him the creeps, Emma replied. Maybe Scout knows something we don't. In the communications room, Grace suddenly sat up straight, her screen filled with new signals. Oh, no, she whispered, and ran to sound the alarm. But before she could reach it, the lights in the camp went out. In the sudden darkness, yellow eyes glowed as the Vraks moved silently through the human settlement. Outside, Scout's body began to change. His fur stood on end, and lines of blue light appeared on his skin like glowing veins. His eyes changed, from orange to bright blue. He let out a low growl and moved toward the main gate. The attack on the human camp had begun, but the pet on guard duty was no ordinary pet. Darkness covered the camp as the emergency lights flickered on, casting red shadows across the buildings. In the communications room, Grace Martinez locked the door and sent out an emergency signal to Earth. She knew help would take days to arrive, but she had to try. Alarms finally blared across the settlement. Alan Wright ran from his quarters searching for Lily. His heart pounded with fear when he couldn't find her in their home. "Lily!" he shouted, his voice lost in the noise of the alarms. Outside, the 6 Vrax visitors had changed. They removed outer layers of clothing to reveal body armor underneath. Each one now carried weapons that glowed with green light. More Vrax soldiers poured in from the forest, heading toward the main buildings. Samantha Miller organized the security team near the main hall. They only had 5 people with weapons, not enough to fight an invasion. "Get everyone to the underground bunker," she told Paul Johnson. "We'll hold them off as long as we can." Paul nodded, his face pale with fear. "What about the shield generator?" The Vrax took it out first. They knew exactly where it was. Alan found Samantha as she handed out the few extra guns they had. "I can't find Lily. Check with Emma's family." "They might be together," Samantha said, then turned to her team. "Aim for their eyes. Seems to be a weak spot." Alan ran to the living quarters where Emma's family stayed. He found Emma's father, Steve, barricading the door. "Have you seen Lily?" Alan asked desperately. "She and Emma went to check on that pet of hers when the power went out," Steve said. "They should have been back by now." Fear grabbed Alan's heart. The girls were out there with the Vrax soldiers. He grabbed a flashlight and a knife, the only weapon available. "I'll find them. Get to the bunker," he told Steve. Meanwhile, Lily and Emma hid behind the storage shed near the fence. They had been looking for Scout when the attack started. Now they were trapped, afraid to move with Vrax soldiers everywhere. "What do we do?" Emma whispered, tears in her eyes. "We need to get to the bunker," Lily said. "But we have to find Scout first." "Forget Scout, we need to—" Emma's words stopped as something moved in the shadows near them. Both girls froze in fear. But it wasn't a Vrax soldier. Scout stood there, but he looked different. His fur now had glowing blue lines running through it. His eyes shone bright blue in the darkness, and his body seemed larger. When he opened his mouth, they saw rows of sharp teeth that hadn't been visible before. "Scout?" Lily whispered. The creature made a soft sound and moved closer to the girls. He nudged them toward the back of the storage shed, away from the approaching Vrax soldiers. "I think he wants us to follow him," Lily said. They followed Scout as he led them through shadows and behind buildings, avoiding the Vrax soldiers. When they had to cross open space, Scout would check first, then signal them to move quickly. "How does he know what to do?" Emma asked as they hid behind the science lab. "I don't know. It's like he's done this before." Nearby, a group of 3 Vrax soldiers approached the main power building. They carried devices to completely shut down the camp systems. Before they could reach the door, something fast and low to the ground shot out from the shadows. The first Vrax didn't even have time to scream. Scout leaped at its throat, his teeth finding the spot where the armor didn't cover. Blue light flashed from Scout's mouth as he bit down. The other 2 Vrax turned their weapons on Scout, but he moved too fast. He darted between their legs, slashing with claws that now extended like knives from his paws. Green blood spilled on the ground as the Vrax fell. Scout stood over the fallen soldiers, his blue eyes glowing brighter. Then he turned and disappeared into the darkness again. On the other side of the camp, Samantha and her security team fought a losing battle. They had managed to hold off the Vrax at the main hall, but more kept coming. "Fall back to the bunker entrance," she ordered. "We can't hold them here." As they retreated, a Vrax soldier appeared behind them, weapon raised. Before Samantha could turn to fire, something small and fast struck the alien from behind. She watched, in shock as Scout took down the soldier with incredible speed and strength. "What in the world?" she whispered. Scout looked at her, his eyes intelligent and fierce. Then he ran off again, chasing another group of Vrax. In the forest near the camp, Commander Zrek received reports from his soldiers. "What do you mean, you can't get to the power core?" he demanded. "There is a guardian," the soldier reported, fear in his voice. It's killing our forces. Zrek's yellow eyes widened. A guardian? That's impossible, they were all destroyed. It's here. The small creature the human child had. It's a guardian, Zrek hissed in anger. Change of plans. Burn the whole camp. No one leaves alive, especially not the guardian. In the communications room, Grace managed to restore power to some systems. On her screens, she saw what was happening outside. Scout moved like lightning between buildings, attacking Varax soldiers and then vanishing. The pet, she said in wonder. It's protecting us. Alan finally found Lily and Emma hiding in the science lab. Dad! Lily ran to him, hugging him tight. Are you hurt? He asked, checking both girls quickly. We're okay. Scout saved us, Emma said. He's different now. He's fighting the bad aliens. Alan looked confused. Scout? Your pet? He's not just a pet, Dad, Lily said. Look. She pointed to the screen in the lab that showed the camp's security cameras. On it, they could see Scout, taking down 2 more Virax soldiers near the food storage. What is he? Alan asked, not really expecting an answer. Dr. Pete rushed into the lab out of breath. You're here, thank goodness, we need to get to the bunker now. Pete, what's happening to Scout? Alan asked. I don't know, but the Vrax called him a guardian. They seemed terrified of him. As they prepared to leave the lab for the bunker, the door burst open. 3 Virax soldiers entered, weapons pointed at them. Humans, one of them said through a translator. You will come with us. Now. Alan pushed the girls behind him. What do you want from us? Your deaths, the Vrax said simply. But first, information about the Guardian. A blue streak flashed through the doorway. Scout launched himself at the Virax, his small body somehow taking down aliens 3 times his size. His claws left deep cuts in their armor, and his teeth found the weak spots in their necks. The fight lasted only seconds. When it ended, the 3 Vrax lay on the floor and Scout stood there, breathing hard but seemingly unhurt. Scout? Lily called softly. The creature turned to her, his fierce blue eyes softening. He came to her side, rubbing against her leg like a normal pet again. We need to get to the bunker, Alan said, still staring at Scout in amazement. As they left the lab, they saw more Vrax soldiers running from something in the distance. Some tried to reach their ships. None made it. Scout's ears perked up. He looked at Lily, then at the fleeing Virax. He seemed torn between staying with her and chasing them. Go, she told him. Stop them. Scout nuzzled her hand once, then turned and vanished into the night. All across the camp, the same scene played. Out. No Vrax soldier who entered the human settlement would leave it alive. The pet on guard duty made sure of that. The emergency lights in the underground bunker cast long shadows on the wall. 20 humans huddled inside, all who had made it to safety. Dr. Alan Wright counted them again, making sure no one was left outside with the Virax. Everyone's here, except Samantha and 2 of her security team, he told Paul Johnson. And Scout, Lily added from where she sat with Emma. He's still out there fighting. Most of the adults looked confused when she mentioned the pet. They couldn't believe a small animal was their defender. But those who had seen Scout in action remained silent, unable to explain what they had witnessed. Grace Martinez worked at the communications station in the corner of the bunker. She had connected cameras throughout the camp to the screens in the bunker. You need to see this, she called. Everyone gathered around the screens. They showed different parts of the camp. In each view, they could see Vrax soldiers moving carefully, weapons ready. And in several views, they caught glimpses of Scout, his blue markings glowing in the dark as he stalked the aliens. Look how he moves, Dr. Pete said with wonder in his voice. It's like he knows their tactics. On one screen, they watched as Scout waited above a doorway. When 3 Vrax soldiers entered the building below him, he dropped down silently. The URL screen showed only flashes of movement, then 3 dead Vrax and Scout disappearing again. He's hunting them, Samantha Miller said as she entered the bunker, bleeding from a cut on her arm. I've never seen anything like it. Alan helped her to a seat. What happened out there? We got separated from Joe and Frank. The Vrax had us cornered near the power plant. She paused, still shocked by what she had seen. Then that creature, Scout, he saved us. He took down 5 Vraks by himself. He led us to safety, then went back for the others. Outside the bunker, the Vraks were beginning to panic. Their plan had been simple: disable the human defenses, capture or kill the settlers, and take their technology. They had not expected a guardian. Commander Zrek gathered his remaining forces near their ships. Of the 50 soldiers he had brought, only 20 remained. "We must retreat and bring more weapons," one officer suggested. "No," Zrek hissed. "If we leave and more ships come, they will find the Guardian. It must be destroyed now." "But Commander, it's killing us all." Zrek's eyes narrowed. "Then we will burn everything, prepare the firebombs." Inside the bunker, Lily watched the screens closely. She worried about Scout, even though he seemed to be winning the fight. "Why didn't we know?" she asked her father. "Why didn't we know what Scout really is?" Alan shook his head. "I don't know. Maybe he was hiding, waiting for something like this." Dr. Pete joined them. "I've been thinking about his behavior since you found him. He was never afraid of humans. He trusted us right away. That's not normal for a wild animal." "He wasn't wild," Lily said. "He was waiting to be found." On the screens, they saw the Vraks moving differently now. They carried new weapons, setting them around the camp buildings. "What are they doing?" Paul asked. Grace zoomed in one camera. "Those look like explosives. They're going to burn the camp." Lily gasped. "Scout, we have to warn him." "We can't go out there," Alan said, holding her back. "But we need to do something." Emma, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. "The camp speakers. We can use them to make noise and warn Scout." Grace nodded. "I can access them from here." She typed quickly on her keyboard. Outside, Scout finished dealing with 2 Virak soldiers who had tried to hide in the science lab. His sensitive ears picked up movement from the forest. More Vraks were coming, carrying things that smelled dangerous. Suddenly, the camp speakers came alive with a high-pitched tone. To the humans in the bunker, it was just a noise. But Scout's ears twitched as he understood the warning. In the bunker, Lily watched the screens anxiously. "Is he coming? Can he hear us?" "Look." Emma pointed to one screen showing the main gate. Scout stood there looking directly at the camera. His blue eyes seemed to stare right at them. Then he turned and ran toward where the Vraks were placing their firebombs. Commander Zrek supervised as his soldiers set the last bombs. "Activate them all. This whole place will burn, Guardian included." A soldier pressed a button, starting a countdown. 10 minutes, Commander." "Good. Return to the ships." "We—" A growl interrupted him. Scout stood at the edge of the clearing, his blue markings glowing brighter than before. "There it is, kill it," Zrek ordered. All weapons turned toward Scout, but he was already moving. He darted between trees and buildings, too fast to track. Soldiers fell one by one as he struck from different directions. Zrek fired his weapon wildly. "Where is it? Where is it?" In the bunker, everyone watched in amazement as Scout systematically eliminated the remaining Vrak's forces. His movements were too fast for the cameras to catch clearly, appearing as just a blue blur. "Look what he's doing now," Dr. Pete said. Scout moved from bomb to bomb, using his teeth and claws to disable them. He seemed to know exactly how they worked. "He's stopping the bombs," Grace said. "How does he know how to do that?" In the forest, Commander Zrek found himself alone. All his soldiers were dead, or had fled to the ships. He backed toward his own. "Escape craft, weapon ready." "Guardian," he shouted, "show yourself." Scout appeared on a rock in front of him. The creature looked small again, almost like a normal pet, but his eyes glowed with blue fire. "You can't stop us," Zrek said. "More will come. We will burn this world and all humans on it." Scout tilted his head as if understanding. Then he growled, a sound that made Zrek's skin crawl. "What are you? Why do you protect them?" Zrek asked, his voice shaking. Scout didn't answer. He couldn't. But he leaped forward faster than Zrek could fire his weapon. In the bunker, the humans watched as Scout returned to the camp. All the Vraks were gone. The bombs had been disabled. Scout walked slowly toward the bunker entrance, his blue markings fading. "He did it," Lily whispered. "He saved us all." Alan looked at his daughter with new understanding. "He wasn't just your pet. He was our guardian all along." The bunker door opened and Scout walked in. He looked tired now, smaller. The glowing marks were almost gone. He went straight to Lily and lay down at her feet like he had done so many times before. Lily stroked his head gently. "Thank you, Scout." Scout closed his eyes, finally resting. But his ears remained alert, still on guard duty. No more Vraks would threaten his humans today. Morning came to the human settlement. Sunlight showed the damage from the night before. Buildings had burn marks from Vraks' weapons. Doors were broken. Windows were shattered. But the camp still stood. Alan Wright led people out of the bunker at first light. Samantha and her team checked everywhere to make sure all the Vraks were gone. They found 37 dead Vraks soldiers. Not one had escaped. Scout walked beside Lily, looking normal again. The blue lines were gone from his fur, and his eyes were back to their usual orange color. He seemed tired, but stayed close to the humans. "I still can't believe it," Paul Johnson said as they inspected the damage to the main hall. "That little animal killed all these Vraks warriors." "Not just killed them," Samantha added. "He used tactics. He knew their weak spots. He disabled their bombs." Dr. Pete knelt to look at Scout, who allowed the examination. "He looks completely normal now. If I hadn't seen it myself, I wouldn't believe it." Grace Martinez called from the communications building. "Dr. Wright, we're getting a signal. A ship is coming." Everyone tensed, fearing more Vraks. Scout's ears perked up, but he didn't show any signs of alarm. "It's one of ours," Grace said after checking the signal again. "A Federation battleship. They got our distress call." Relief spread through the tired group. Help was coming. 3 hours later, the Federation ship landed outside the camp. It was huge, much bigger than the Vrak ships had been. Armed soldiers came out first, followed by their captain. Captain Lisa Howard, the woman introduced herself. She had short gray hair and a kind face that had seen many battles. "We came as fast as we could. I see we're too late for the fight." Alan shook her hand. "We managed, thanks to an unexpected ally." Scout sat at Lily's feet, watching the newcomers with curious eyes. Captain Howard looked at the small creature and gasped. "Is that a Kree Guardian?" Everyone turned to her in surprise. "You know what he is?" Alan asked. "Let's talk inside," Captain Howard said. "This is classified information." In the main hall, Captain Howard showed them images on her tablet. The pictures showed creatures that looked like Scout but larger. The Kree were thought to be extinct, she explained. They were a highly advanced species that lived in this sector 200 years ago, when humans first started exploring space. "What happened to them?" Lily asked, her hand resting on Scout's head. "The Vraks happened," Captain Howard said grimly. "The Kree were peaceful, but they were also powerful. When the Vraks tried to invade their worlds, the Kree fought back. They were the only species to ever defeat the Vraks in battle." Alan leaned forward. "But you said they were extinct?" "They won the war, but at great cost. Their civilization was destroyed. We thought they had all died out." She looked at Scout with wonder. "Until now." Scout yawned, seeming bored by his own history. "But why does he look like a pet?" Emma asked. "And why did he stay with us?" Captain Howard showed them more images. The Kree were not just warriors, they were genetic engineers. Near the end of the war, they created a special kind of guardian, smaller, able to hide among other animals. They called them Sentinels. The screen showed small Kree that looked exactly like Scout. "We found records that suggest they created these Sentinels with one purpose: to protect humans." Captain Howard looked at Scout with new respect. "They must have scattered them across planets where humans might settle. That's why he let me find him," Lily said, understanding now. "That's why he stayed with us." "Yes," Captain Howard agreed. "The Kree saw something in humans worth protecting. They created the Sentinels as their legacy. We thought it was just a legend." Dr. Pete had been studying the images carefully. The blue markings, the transformation, it's like he has two forms, one for living among us and one for protecting us. Exactly, said Captain Howard. And there's more. We've just received reports from 3 other human colonies in this sector. All were attacked by Vrax forces last night. All had similar creatures that transformed and protected them. Everyone was silent as they understood what this meant. The Kree knew the Vrax would return, Alan said. They prepared for it, even after their own civilization was gone. Scout stood up and stretched, then walked over to the window to look outside. He seemed unaware of his importance in the story of 2 civilizations. What happens now? Lily asked quietly. Will you take Scout away for study? Captain Howard shook her head. No. The Sentinels clearly choose who they bond with. He chose you. Lily. Our scientists believe the bond is necessary for their programming to work properly. Lily hugged Scout, relieved. So he can stay with us? Yes. But there will be changes. This settlement is now a priority defense location. We'll bring more people, better defenses. Captain Howard looked around at the damaged camp. The Vrax will be back. They don't give up easily. Let them come, Samantha said, her hand on her weapon. We'll be ready this time. Over the next few days, Federation ships arrived with supplies and more people. Engineers built stronger walls around the camp. Scientists came to study Scout, though they were careful not to treat him like a test subject. Scout himself returned to his normal routine, following Lily around and acting like a regular pet. But sometimes at night people would see him standing at the edge of camp, his orange eyes watching the stars. A week after the attack, Alan found Lily and Scout sitting on a hill overlooking the camp. What are you thinking about? He asked, as he sat beside his daughter. The Kree, Lily said. They must have been amazing. They knew they were going to die out, but they still made sure we would be protected. Alan nodded. They left guardians for children who wouldn't be born for hundreds of years. Scout rested his head on Lily's lap, enjoying the evening sun. Do you think there are more Sentinels out there? Lily asked. Waiting to be found. Captain Howard thinks so. They're checking all human colonies now. Lily scratched Scout behind his ears. He doesn't look like a legendary guardian right now. Scout opened one eye, then closed it again lazily. Alan laughed. Maybe that's the point. The best protectors don't always look dangerous. As darkness fell, Scout's ears twitched toward a sound. In the forest. He stood up, suddenly alert. But after a moment, he relaxed again. Just a normal animal, not a threat. The pet on guard duty settled back down between the humans he was born to protect. The Vrax had not escaped, and as long as Scout and his kind watched over humanity, they never would.